We should be live, y'all. Whoop, whoop. Mic check. Mic check. Gonna make sure that the microphone is working. Working. I think we got the microphone situation on lock. It looks like it's moving to me. How's it going, party people? Welcome. So, if you are new to this channel, welcome. If you've been here a minute, welcome. Today's topic is pretty exciting, if I do say so. Parallels of power between Scorpio and Black culture. So, sorry, I'm trying to see if I got something in my teeth. All right, we're good. So, Scorpio, as y'all know, is the most powerful sign of the zodiac, right? And I'm calling this parallels of power between Scorpio energy and the cultural energy of Black culture. And there's a reason for that. It's not just because I'm saying, oh, Black culture is the most powerful culture. I'm not saying that either. You know what I mean? So I'm going to explain in this video, though, what I mean. And I just want to make sure before we really get into some of that everybody tuning in today and in the replay has a chance to hear me say my heartfelt intention that regardless, this is a recognition, regardless of what skin tone you have embodied in this particular lifetime. And I just realized I'm looking a hot mess, y'all. This is what happens when you're so excited for your live and then you're like, oh, I better take my tincture so that I'm good and healthy. So that little frog in my throat is nothing. And then you're like, well, my tincture all over my shirt. And then you have to make sure it doesn't stain. And then that's 5 minutes before your live begins. So I'm sorry, but in the course of this, that should dry. So, but my caveat that I want to say for everybody is that regardless of what skin tone you've incarnated with, you have the power. You have the power. You have the power to transform your legacy. You have the power to stand for something worth a damn. You have the power to make an impact in somebody's life. You have the power to be who you are. You understand? In you, no matter what. And you don't need to let melanin or DNA or anything limit you, regardless of how you've incarnated. The other caveat I want to say is that we have all lived multiple lifetimes. And if you don't believe in that, then I guess you and me just don't agree. You know what I mean? That's cool. No disrespect. But we've all lived multiple lifetimes. And so I also know that, that we are not all the same color each lifetime, very likely, or gender for that matter. So there's that. And I love all people, and I don't want anybody to take all this stuff the wrong way and try to twist my words, you know what I'm saying? So just know what is coming out of my mouth is what I mean. And love to all cultures. So I'm about to break down some philosophical stuff with Scorpio and Black culture. I'm about to break down just so much. And we're really just going to go in, y'all. It's going to be cool. So I am doing this live today, y'all. So you can chime in. If you are in the room, you are welcome to chime in. If you have questions, comments, concerns, agreements, feedback, you know what I'm saying? Feel free to use that chat box today while we talk about this. Because everything with Wizdom Dropz is supposed to be a community thing. You know what I mean? That's my intention. And I love knowing that people are in the room and having thoughts of their own. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to share some of those thoughts, you are welcome to share those thoughts as long as we keep them constructive, because this is a loving space. And if you're trying to bring hate to this loving space, that's just not, that's not our vibration. So everybody here, I think, knows that. Everybody that's drawn to my work seems to really be on that. So just thank you. You know what I mean? And we're going to have a deep talk. So thanks for hearing all that. And with that said, Scorpio is the most powerful sign of the zodiac. And I think there's a lot of parallels between Scorpio and Black culture. And when I say Scorpio is the most powerful sign of the zodiac, I always put the caveat for what Scorpio does. Okay. And every sign is the most powerful sign in the zodiac for what it does. But at the same time, I always go back and say, but Scorpio kind of takes that cake, so to speak, because Scorpio is power gained through trauma. And trauma in this matrix, whatever you want to call it, this this place that we've incarnated in, this beautiful earth that has some really weird exploitive, right, systems of power that have really gone in and damaged the integrity in certain ways, you know, not of our planet, but of how we treat our planet. Those power systems exist. And so when you incarnate, you are bound very likely to experience one form of trauma or another. Some people go as far to say that birth itself is the first traumatic experience, you understand, because you're stripped from your mother in a physical sense. So now I'm going to tie it back to what I just said. Scorpio is the most powerful sign of zodiac. You heard my caveat before. I'm not going to keep saying it, okay? And with that, Black culture is very similar because it has also been suppressed in various ways, and in the face of that trauma, bounced back all the more, all the stronger. It's almost like a forced evolution through a disrespectful, otherwise not okay in any way, shape, or form, right? System of power that has been known as systematic racism and the injustices that just are so many levels, right? We couldn't even begin to cover every level of injustice that the group at large has faced, just as we could not for women, you understand, at large, okay? And with that said, I think that when we get into the actual astrology of Scorpio and we actually look astrologically, why is it that Scorpio is what it is in the zodiac? We can see how clearly that same power dynamic also corresponds with the larger culture of Black melanated beings. So I'm also going to put the caveat on here. I have a couple caveats today, y'all. You know, these topics get real tense and people be taking things all type of ways. So again, this is all from a place of love. And I also recognize each individual is an individual, and anybody trying to come to massive conclusions about all that is you based off of one identifier of your being is full of crap. Don't listen to them. Walk the other way. Please understand, I'm not trying to limit you by whatever you incarnated as. Understand that regardless of how you incarnated, you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to disagree with me. And you are likely going to have your own opinion. All I can do is express to you what my observed reality over time, space, and lived experience in my lifetime has taught me. You understand? And what astrology has taught me. So I'm going to show y'all what I know of astrology and what I know of cultural expression. You know what I'm saying? And what I've lived in my life, and explain the parallels between Scorpio energy and Black culture. Subscribe if you're new here, by the way, y'all. I put out a video every day of the week, so it's there for you. You know what I'm saying? So be there for it. We is building community, and I appreciate you. Oh yeah, and if you like this video, it helps the channel, you know, get the message out. So I really appreciate that as well. And I guess there's a lot of things to say about this. A lot of us too have different lineages that come together, and I think today we are all a melting pot, and there's different types of power and different types of, you know, inheritances, and this is also of your soul inheritance and your soul legacy. And fun fact, I actually have some Black DNA. Some people know that when they look at me. I've been, a lot of times in life, I'm always amazed how many people are like, Tonya, are you mixed? And I'm like, how did you know? Like, I'm not like a massive amount, so to speak, but like, you know, that's part of my palette of who I am. You know what I mean? So there's that. And I think that it's just important for all of us to recognize it's not you, it's my internet connection. Oh, she peaced. Okay. Shelby. Yeah. So anyway, that's like really funny. So this is it, y'all. Look at this. Scorpio is ruled by Mars, and Mars is the ancient ruler. You're going to hear everybody say it's Pluto, okay? Pluto is the modern ruler of Scorpio. Now, Mars is the ruler of Scorpio as it is a water sign, okay? And like I say, when you go through Scorpio energy, this is the water sign of the traumatic transformation. It is the water sign that is associated with the very concept of metamorphosis. Do y'all know what metamorphosis really is, though? Like, really? You think you know, but do you? Check it out. This caterpillar, right? This little caterpillar goes into that chrysalis if they're a butterfly, or a cocoon if they're a moth. Everybody be teaching you it's a cocoon for the butterfly. It's not. It's a chrysalis. Point being, I'm a science nerd sometimes. But it goes in there, and in this process called apoptosis, this little caterpillar liquefies their whole body. They turn to jello. This little caterpillar that you just saw, is now like jello. They're literally jello. And from jello, they turn into a butterfly without even being able to open their wings. They develop them. Isn't this crazy? And through the breaking through of the chrysalis or the cocoon, they come out a butterfly, emerged. And it's through the traumatic cycle of a death and a reset and a captivity. They had to stay in that enclosure, in that one space. They were forced to change from within. They had to kill something off from within themselves, that butterfly. Do you see what I'm saying? They had to turn what was previously just a soft-bodied, land-based creature into a flying enigma of life. You know what I mean? Butterflies are just so, come on. You can't even look at one and tell me that it's not beautiful and gorgeous and amazing. You know what I mean? And it's through the process of the trauma that is the death and the rebirth, and this cycle of coming out through what is shed that no longer serves. And when you think about what's been dealt in terms of Black culture through the ages, why is it that it's had to go through that? Well, that's a very juicy question that we're going to dive into. You know what I mean? But before we get to that, why is it that that's the culture that's been oppressed, right? Makes wonder why, says sarcastically. But for real though, when you think about this like deeper, think about the fact that in that process of butterfly status, do you know how dope it is to be a butterfly? Honest to God, do you know how dope it is to be a butterfly? A butterfly can fly, yo. A butterfly can go wherever they want, whenever they want, and they can literally see anything they desire. You know what I mean? They can do whatever they want to do at all times and be gorgeous, like all the time, with no effort, other than having to go through all that huge trauma of metamorphosizing. So this is the thing. In Scorpio energy, check it. You see polarization. You understand? You see, remember how we talk about this? Whenever we talk about Scorpio, it's like Scorpio rules the poles, right? Everybody says that. It's because it does. It rules extremes. So in the culture of Black melanated beings, you also see a polarization. You see people who have been dramatically oppressed and suppressed and have not been able to get themselves through that because of whatever injustice, whatever, you know what I mean? And that's sad. And trauma cycles, we all know trauma cycles, you know what I mean? But sometimes those go so deep that we see this, you know what I'm talking about? It's hood, you know what I mean? And that's not in a disrespectful way. Everybody knows the hood is real, you know what I mean? Like, especially people from the hood or been in the hood is real. So like you have the hood, and on the flip side, you have the brightest minds of our time. You have the most innovative minds, creators, responders, just creatives, you know what I mean? And if you look at the cultural expressions as a whole, and again, I said a bunch of caveats at the beginning, so if you're getting offended, you need to not skip like a little child and go back and listen to what I said before I get any nasty comments. Thank you. Appreciate that. Now, when you do, though, listen into the messages of what you're witnessing in front of you in real life, you know what I mean? In your own world of just observing the world. If you're honest with yourself and you sit and you say, which culture seems to innovate most? If you sit and you say, which culture seems to just shine, have beings that really can shine in the face of resistance, that is this global incarnation experience, right? The most, who is it? You know who it is. And every culture has their diamonds. Nobody is limited here. You have to understand that. Nobody is limited here. But what I'm saying is that as a larger population, just as within Scorpio energy, there is a polarization of like intense trauma and challenge and even like lower vibration, petty shit, to be frank. And at the flip side, the absolute just top of like what it means to innovate. And this is not to put additional pressure, you know what I'm saying? Because I think there's a lot of things that we in society, we put additional pressure on ourselves for various identifiers and various buckets of so-called boxes that we might fit into, you understand? I am not trying to put that on anybody. But what I am saying is there is a greatness there that is implicit within the melanated culture at large. And I think that that greatness becomes polarized in a complete like maybe we could call it a detachment from the greatness in many ways, right? With this, and I'm not putting that as like a blame situation, don't get it twisted. And then on the flip side, we have this massive, just like the people who invent stuff that have been credited as the inventors of stuff throughout time and space, they're either whitewashed, you know what I'm saying? Like they say they're white when they're not, and or it's given to some white guy. And the same could be said for women who have done things. Like I think Hypatia was like one of those Greek, I think that's her name. I think she was Greek or maybe Roman philosopher woman. She was a professor and she invented an astrolabe, which is a thing that tells you basically everything you look at when you look at software, like where the planets are, you know what I'm saying, at any given moment. She was a mathematician, right? And her father was an astrologer, so she was too. And she learned how from daddy about astrology, and she turned it into a freaking machine. And this is like way back in the day, thousands of years ago, y'all, that calculated the heavens at any given moment. And this woman, guess how she died? People around, they literally ripped her to pieces and killed her, beat her up in the middle of a public square, and she was a respected educator. Why do you think she was brought down? Because she was powerful. So why do you think Black culture has been brought down? Because they're powerful. Why do you think Black culture has been targeted with systematic racism, enslavement for so long? Because they're powerful. Black culture is powerful. And every culture is powerful. But you know what happens? This is what happens. I'm explaining some psychological power dynamics with you. When you think, when you think that you are threatened by somebody else's power because you don't feel like you have enough, so to speak, and you can sense that they have more than you in a certain sense, there's a number of ways that you might meet that situation. You might ignore that person, right, and just go your other way. Another way you might react if you're in a real weak position and you're kind of disconnected from your higher source, you might try to bring them down. You might try to thwart those people. You might try to bring them down a peg or two so that they don't do anything to harm you and compete with you. You understand? So again, I ask you the question, why is it, do you think, that Black culture has been enslaved throughout what we know as modern time? Because there was a form of power within the culture that enslaved Black people, which I know some of y'all are up on your history and you got your third eye open and you know that Black people have also enslaved Black people, right? And trust me, I understand. So those people themselves also exhibited a sense of like lack of power, right? In that instance. And what I'm saying is that generally there was a side that was actually powerful that became enslaved. And there was a side that was powerful and failed to see their power, so they felt the need to exploit others' power in the process, the enslavers. You understand? And so that's basically where I'm going with this. And Scorpio energy is a lot like this dynamic. Scorpio energy, as we know it, is all about the power. I was explaining this to somebody the other day. I was doing a reading. I love this beautiful person, right? I was doing this reading for this wonderful person. It was a birthday gift, just a really beautiful soul. And, I was explaining to them, this energy of Scorpio, the thing about Scorpio is that it's all at the end of the day, it's about value. If you think about Scorpio as a sign, it's about value. At the end of the day, there's one thing that Scorpio actually gives a fuck about, and that's value. That's right. So when you think about that, and you think about the correspondence between all these different power dynamics that we just went into, right? And you think about just how the psychology of people around power is, we see this very dynamic in Scorpio energy is what I'm saying. So Scorpio energy is about power and value, right? We just established that. Now think about it in context of distorted Scorpio energy. It exploits. Distorted Scorpio energy, it puts things in a negative context. It manipulates things in a way, right? And manipulate is a neutral word, y'all. Don't be thinking it's all negative all the time. You manipulate everything, every time you wipe your butt after the restroom. Pardon my vulgar example, but if y'all are Scorpio, you're going to vibe with what I just said. You know what I mean? Like, you manipulate that in a good way. Like nobody's gonna be like, oh, you manipulated your toilet paper, shame. No. Like understand, just because you got the juice don't mean you use the juice negatively. Just because you got the juice don't mean you're out here trying to like be manipulative in a bad way. But when it does go to that way, when it does go to the shadow, you got to watch out, because what happens is that Scorpio energy will put the power dynamic in play that undermines the validity of the other side's power in a way that is, it's just wrong. It's beyond a healthy, just thing, and it's just wrong. It's like taking it away without permission, without consent, without acknowledgement of boundaries. It's an encroachment upon that and beyond that. And so when you think about like how does Scorpio energy actually, manifest in the lower realms, that's part of it. It's that manipulation, it's the forced power, just as enslavement was against Black people. So the whole thing around enslavement, right, is very Scorpionic. There's a power dynamic at play. There's an exploitation at play. You understand? So I'm going to take a little coffee sip first. In a minute here, I'm just going to drink some cafe. And in the meantime, I would like y'all to type me some questions about Scorpio energy, or about maybe just some reflections, if you wouldn't mind sharing in the chat, like what your reflections are around, Black culture, Scorpio energy, anything like that. I would just really love to, make this a bit more engaging and live, since we are here. If you have any thoughts to share, any of this that's resonating, or just any thoughts, that you feel like sharing. So, this is the lower vibration, though, in terms of what's been imposed on this culture, right? In terms of the enslavement thing. And that's where the real power opportunity comes in. And I think that's why you see Black culture shine in the way that many people do, because there is this ancient primal wisdom that is in all human blood, right? All human DNA. And if you think about the mother of all civilization, like people say it's the Middle East, people say it's Africa, it's really in that region though. So if you think about it, like it is Africa, it is melanated, and there is something to be said, I think, about that sort of, what's the word that's coming to me? That sort of biological genetic database that is downloaded through melanated beings. I think that is a really important, relevant information strain, for lack of better words, to pay attention to. In terms of many things, I know personally in my life, I can honestly say, women have always been distinct, just incredible. I've learned so much from women, so much. And especially outside of like my immediate, like my grandma, my mom, Black women are so fucking wise. Like high vibe Black women, just so wise, just really like amazing. Just the not only like the intellect and the savvy, you know what I'm saying, but just the wisdom alongside it. So I'm taking a coffee sip, y'all. Y'all can type or not, you know what I'm saying, but I'm trying to be here with you. So please do share if you feel so inclined. I know it's not good for you, but I love coffee. I really do. I try to cut back, and there's times in my life where I skip. I don't know about y'all. If you're coffee drinkers, let me know if you're with me. I know it's bad, but something in me just, my mom's a coffee addict too. But yeah, so y'all are quiet today. Is it all the Scorpio energy in the room? Are y'all being just Scorpionic with me? That's cool. Whatever's clever. So yeah, they're thinking more about like the real power aspect of Scorpio energy, and also how that translates into Black culture, right? I think that's really where I would like to go next. I just realized you can't even see my groovy little salt lamp. Isn't that a darn shame? I thought so. So the real power of Scorpio, though, like I was saying before, it is through that metamorphosis. We talked a lot about that metamorphosis, example of like how that butterfly goes and turns into before it, as a butterfly, as jello, as a caterpillar. And I think that's what has happened to Black culture. I feel like many people who are Black skinned have gone through having to realize, through the reflections that they've seen from society, right, as a whole, and as, even in their own families, whatever, in one way or another, many Black skinned individuals have gone through their own process, right, of seeing the darker aspects, for lack of better words, the harder aspects, the more brutal aspects, you know what I'm saying? The mental shadows of society. They have been the scapegoat. In many ways, there's also a correspondence between Black culture and Capricorn, which is considered to be another badass of the zodiac, you know what I mean? Because Capricorn is also ruled by Saturn, and that is authority. So it's true authority, right? And anyway, all that to say, like, back to this idea of a scapegoat, they've been like put in this, position of being undermined in one way or another at one point in life, right? Because of Black skinnedness. And, again, there's always exceptions to everything. Some people grow up just so sheltered, whatever, and no disrespect. I'm not here for that, And at the same time, through that process of being at some point or another othered in a way that is like not constructive, not groovy, and the immediate, it's just bullshit, right? Like some racist, crazy, whatever came at them. They went through harder struggles because of their, upbringing, whatever it was, right? Whatever that was for them, okay? That was fuel to the fodder that turned the inventor on, that turned the creatrix energy on, that turned the wisdom on at even a higher level. It's almost like it's like the diamond can't be a diamond before it goes through fire. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm getting at. Black culture has been put in the fire. It was already strong as hell. People were scared of the fire. They're like, oh, we need to take that fire and strangle it, when in actuality, all they did was help it roar more. And in the fullness of time, because we just now woke up, like how long ago? How long have we not enslaved Black people? Not even that damn long. It literally has not been that damn long. How many generations are we out? You know what I mean? It ain't even that long like that. So the facts of the matter are that through that process of systematic, trying to strangle the fire, so to speak, we are ultimately igniting it even more. And to me, that is a beautiful thing, because this is going to help us evolve even quicker once hey, guess what? We haven't enslaved some of the brightest minds of our entire population. Good job, humanity. Now let's wait till just our social systems catch up. Wait till the economic system, which we know is going through a massive transformation, right? Wait till that economic system matches and lines up in some way where it is a more equitable distribution, where the start point, the jump point for everybody, cross-cultural expression is at least something that is respectable upon the larger culture that is there hosting it, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Wait till we don't systematically continue cycles of oppression against people of color, and then see what happens to society. The whole damn world is going to heal. Same with women. Give women education. See what happens. See what happens when you give that woman education. You know what I'm saying? So think about that. They're also the scorpionic between the two gender. There's so many genders, right? But you know what I mean? Body wise, it's not all the time, but most of the time it's one or the other. Point being, though, we're talking today about, Black specifically, but there is always intersectionality, right? And with that said, though, like this process of going through this, like I say, power dynamic, this exploitive, like, the fire being tried, you tried to kill us, you forgot we were seeds. I know that's Mexican proverb. So, you can see a lot of intersectionality amidst many melanated cultures. I think a lot of the things I'm saying can also be applied to other cultural groups. You know what I mean? And again, I'm always putting the caveat, like everybody's an individual and there's diamonds everywhere, but diamonds in all cultures, and there's a-holes everywhere in all cultures. Trust and believe. We all know this. None of us are that naive. You know what I mean? But just saying that, like, the diamonds don't get made without the trauma of being like the pressure and the fire. And so I think, like, as a process, the DNA lineage of the wisdom that is melanated Black DNA from like Africa, you know what I'm saying? That DNA has been through a lot as a story. And if you think like modern quantum physicists, modern biologists, everybody's catching up. Everybody's catching up. Everybody's starting to say, oh, wow, DNA stores memory. Oh, wow, DNA stores emotion. Oh, wow, energy is literally everything, you know? So now they're catching up, and now the story's making more sense because the DNA from that lineage, it carries more story of this nature of having to go through. Kima! Hey, Kima! Having to go through, I love you. Thanks for being here. Of having to go through that process in order to come out the other side to the process. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it has to be a process in order for that to evolve in the way that it has. It's not to say that it needed that to be what it is. That's not what I'm saying. Like I say, there was a threat there from the beginning. And there's many ways one can respond when they recognize that there is also power elsewhere, like white people, so-called, and select people of color, select black people, right? Looked at many black people or black people as a whole and said, oh, you're powerful, but I'm scared of your power. So therefore, I'm going to try to impose my power on your power to take yours away so that you're not a threat to me and you become a permanent asset. They were threatened by them in the first damn place. But since the black culture as a whole has gone through the experiences that we know that they had, right? This is what it precipitates, this quality like Scorpio energy of greatness. Because when you become when you become faced with two choices, sink or swim, it's a lot easier to choose one or the other, right? And oftentimes it's swim. Sometimes though, it's not always the easiest option because that option is hard as hell. Do you understand? Sinking can be a lot easier. Sinking is easy, so to speak. And it ain't even easy like that. But sinking is it's accessible. It's every day. You don't need to do much to sink in this third dimension. And especially coming into those cultural contexts that I'm mentioning in this, you know what I'm trying to get at here, right? So when you choose to swim, when you have sink or swim because of the way that society treats you based on your ethnic heritage, when you have an option, whatever, and not everybody's in the same boat. I recognize everybody has their own story. Please understand, I'm not trying to impose the same narrative on everybody. Everybody has their own cultural lived experiences and definitions. Please understand, I'm not trying to limit anybody. I know I keep saying that, but I really just want to be very clear and articulate in that, you know. And with that said, when you get to sink or swim and you choose to swim, you're going to swim. And when you have those kinds of stakes at play, you're going to swim when you choose to swim, And does Scorpio, tell me this, does Scorpio tend to have a medium? Is Scorpio a medium kind of sign? No. Scorpio is sink or swim. Oftentimes when you hear people's associations with Scorpios, they're either like, oh, I love Scorpios, or they're like, oh my God, I can't stand Scorpios, because they're like scared shitless of you, because they're afraid of you, They are afraid of your power, or you are petty as hell, and you are in some serious low vibe circumstances. And that's not to disrespect, because everybody has been petty as hell at one point or another in life, including me. So understand, I'm not trying to talk down to nobody or anything along those lines. And what I'm saying with this is that there's this polarization tendency, because in Scorpio energy, that is considered to be the most powerful energy of the zodiac. It is this power, as we've been talking about, that is attained through the process of being burned or otherwise wounded, traumatized, right? And when you come out of that empowered instead of victimed, there's always a victimization process to the scorpionic power. That's a good takeaway. Scorpionic power at one point or another always feels victimized. Scorpionic power at one point or another has always been the child that's been abused, whether or not that's a literal thing or metaphorical. Scorpionic power at one point or another has always been stripped of its own power, stripped of its own autonomy. It has always gone through a not so beautiful aspect of lived experience. That very experience where Scorpio was vulnerable at that level of being violated, is the very experience that gives Scorpio the opportunity as a sign to be the most powerful sign in the zodiac. Because when you can turn the worst of shit into the best of shit, you become it. You become the power, because that is what the world will always give you. There will always be compost available. The question is, do you have the keys to unlock the nutrients, or do you just see it as shit? You know what I'm saying? And so I think that a lot of times Black culture, because it's made its way, the people, right, have made their way to greatness through this already dope DNA that was already intimidating AF from the beginning. You see what I'm saying? And that's why it was enslaved in the first place. But because in the context of being confined, it has made its way. They have made their way toward greatness, right? They themselves have overcome what inside was that scorpionic moment in their history that is in many ways, unfortunately, still alive and well in various ways. And let us just say, for word is bond, it is on the way out and diminishing as we continually and ever more increase our self-love and love of each other as a holy union of humanity. And that was just like straight from somewhere else that was in me, but also not just me. So I agree. That's it. And with this, that's happening as the metamorphosis or as the chrysalis process in each of our lives, right? And as in Black culture as a whole, as it evolves, I think we witness the butterflies, you know what I'm saying? So we witness the butterflies of that experience. So I just think that that's really important, you know, for us as a culture of humans, regardless of where we've incarnated from, regardless of whatever, you know what I mean? I feel like it's important for us to recollect and remember that like power is all over. And when you are in a true state of in your power, it is because you have gone through a true state of feeling not in your power. So you know what it is to be what you are not, and you know what it is to be what you are from that awareness of knowing what is not. And it's again through this process of having this trauma or otherwise just not so pleasant experience of power, you know, dynamics really put on you that you have to choose at one point or another. Do I sink or do I swim? And when you swim with Scorpio energy, and when you swim within the greatness of what Black culture is, you know, or just DNA at a DNA level, you swim very far. You know what I mean? You swim very, very far. That is power. You know what I mean? When you choose to rise, you rise hard. When you choose to rise, you rise. And that's not to say the process is always quick. No, that butterfly spends some time in that chrysalis. You know what I'm saying? That's not to say everything is night and day. That's not to say to anybody out there who's been on their hustle, who's of any given, you know, cultural heritage, if you haven't seen results yet, that you're not ever going to see results and you're just in this other side of what is very powerful. No, that's not what I'm saying. Don't get it twisted. I'm saying if you're in process rising, you keep going because you're destined for great things. If you keep rising and you know that it's in your, this is what I'm doing, you do that. You do that. You will do that. You understand? You will do that. So know that. And yeah, I think that it's important to recognize that the reason Scorpio is most powerful, so to speak, is because it has been through the process that it has been through. And when you have been through that process in your own lineage of whatever you inherited in this lifetime, right? Whatever DNA you've inherited, you go through that. And everybody has a Scorpio somewhere in your chart. That was the other thing I really wanted to mention today. I had some notes, y'all. I don't know where they went. And I'm about to take another coffee sip if y'all want to type anything in the box. But when you go through the process, okay, that's when you get the power of wherever Scorpio is in your chart. So you could be a Scorpio, you know, you could have Scorpio in your 10th house and no planets there, and this whole time you're like not even reading it in your life, and that would be a shame. You know what I mean? You could have Scorpio in your 2nd house and not have any planets there, and your whole life you think you have no Scorpio energy just because your little CoStar app didn't tell you anything about Scorpio. And it's like, you have a Scorpio somewhere in your chart, and that house is where you possess the very energy we've been talking about today. the energy of transmutation, the energy of true inner power, the energy of being able to change one's environment, the energy of being able to transform what is otherwise poo-poo into nutrients. You understand? So this is the Scorpionic way. The Scorpionic way is the transmuter, is the transformer. And it is this inner ability to shed what no longer serves, okay, regarding that experience that was painful and otherwise victimizing, so to speak. And that's the process through which, again, you identify, we, the people, in that area of our life where Scorpio is. If you got it in your chart more, you'll feel it more. If you are of Black descent, you might also resonate with what I'm saying more, for example. But it is when you go through that process of feeling as if you do not have enough and that you are not enough. It is in that process that you become aware of what it is to have. And when you commit yourself to being that version of yourself, even if it's just to have the belief in yourself, even if it is just to have the foundation that you can develop personally in the relationship with yourself, as you always have that, you understand? That is when you tap into your personal Scorpionic traits. And again, you have a Scorpio somewhere in your chart. Everybody got a house that is ruled by whole sign astrology by Scorpio. If you come in here like, I have an intercepted house in Scorpio, what do? I'm going to be like, you didn't hear me when I said you have a whole sign house in your chart that's from this sign. It's time for coffee. Type me a message. Type me what you want to talk about. Give me something to work with, y'all. I love hearing from y'all, even if it's just what's up, anything. Let me know what you want to talk about today. Does this resonate? Let me know what you think. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Ooh, that coffee's good. So, I think that's what you should take away from this, though, is that the Scorpionic power process is always from one point to the point it is. It's not always just Scorpio. That's like Leo power, right? Leo's just great. It's just ruled by the sun. Scorpio's great because it went through something to get what it has. And what it has couldn't have been gotten, here's the caveat, without having gone through that process. So this is where we see the Scorpio being this dark lord, right? That is Hades and Pluto, right? Because this is the underlord. This is the lord of this traumatic process. That is the transformation process. Onset, the catalyst, you get it for the start of that. This trauma process that I speak of is the initiation. This process that I speak of is the divination that goes through one's experience in their lineage and the lived legacy that they go through in the process of becoming a butterfly. And so any one of us who chooses to rise into our greatness goes through this awareness of where the pain is, where loss is, where the wounds are, what hurts most. What hurts most? Why? What can you do about it? Oh, you can't do about it? You can't do nothing about it? You can't? You can't. But what you can do is what you can do. And that's what Scorpio knows at the end of the day. And that's what a lot of times, especially in the higher manifestation of this incredibly productive, just ingenious, just creative culture that is Black culture, right? Just deeply creative, deep creative beings. And these are problem solvers. I just hate, it's so funny. I spent 10 years in Chicago working with kids from all over, especially inner city environments. And it's always so funny when you see hoity-toity, uptight, people who are white from different income brackets have these stereotypes about these kids of color, thinking that they're somehow not as intelligent. It's they'll never say it because they don't have the guts, you know what I mean? But when you can sometimes get a sense based off of the words they're saying or how they're saying things, and it's funny, honestly. It's funny, because they think this, and it's just because they themselves are not attuned to the intelligence in front of them that they dismiss it as less than. And it's so comical because in the process of that, they themselves are becoming less because they themselves are judging in a way from being ignorant. You know what I mean? So it's like really ironic. It's like, damn, you just literally don't even understand what's in front of you and you're going to demean it. And in the process, you look like a damn fool. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, wow, just the irony. And, just working with those kids for this amount of time with such confidence, I could say that just honestly, some of the best problem solvers are these very children. You know what I mean? Some of the best problem solvers and the best thinkers. I could honestly sob. If I wasn't a Capricorn rising right now, I would be bawling my eyes out. But yeah, let's read this comment. Yeah, she says, Mr. Brown Pearson. So my Hispanic Scorpio friend sort of takes on some of my black ways because of her sign. You could say that. And also I was saying like melanation in general, there's a lot of correspondence between melanated legacies and melanated bloodlines, right? So if you see a lot of correspondence there, I think it's wise to see overlap, and I've witnessed it myself. You know what I mean? I'm talking about melanin-rich cultures in general. You know what I mean? And again, everybody's an individual, and all souls have incarnated many lifetimes. I know that I've not always been white-skinned appearing in my lineage, and I know that I have Black in my genetic bucket personally. You know what I mean? As well as Hispanic. So I'm a bucket of mixed DNAs. I got all sorts of different funky lineages, and I think a lot of us resonate with that. You know what I mean? Yes. Yeah. So I do feel like your Hispanic Scorpio friend takes on a bit of those qualities just by being a Scorpio, yes, and also the fact that she's also herself from that lineage of melanation, regardless of the nation, right, association. So I think that the Scorpio, though, process is ubiquitous to all of us, regardless, like I say, regardless of what you've incarnated in, what meat suit, so to speak, you're taking on, right, in this lifetime. Everybody has a Scorpio somewhere in their chart. So you have a house, and that's a bucket of life experience, a type of life experience, a genre. If you think about like music has genres, right? There's like the hip hop, there's reggae, there's jazz, there's country, there's punk, there's rock, all these different things, classical. Okay. Just like that, there are different genres. You know what I'm saying? So there's genres to this stuff, y'all. there's genres, and houses in astrology are genres of life experience. So there's a romance genre, the 5th house. You understand? There's a serious wedding and a serious partner genre for the committed relationship, the 7th house. There's a spiritual genre of faith and religion, the 9th, and so forth and so on. I'm really learning how to break that metaphor down better for people, so I hope that helps. But the point is, everybody has a house or a genre of life experience, a bucket of life experience that is associated with Scorpio. So regardless of what your key 3 are, and regardless of your melanin count, you know what I mean? You yourself have Scorpio energy somewhere in your chart, as does everybody you know, because everybody has a house that is Scorpio ruled. So everybody has this ability to tap into this power and this potency, you know what I mean? Through their own channel, their own kind of like way in, to like their lived experience. So I hope that helps. So it'll tell you where in your life you can gain power through the pain or the loss or the challenge or the trauma that life has brought you. Where is it that you really have that ability within? And that ability, meaning that responsibility, like you have the ability to respond to your ability in the house ruled by Scorpio is what I'm saying, right? So where is it in your chart that you have that? What's up, James? Welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, welcome. So, I would be interested to hear from y'all if you have Scorpio energy, even if you resonate with how I'm breaking down, like why you have power, in the way that you do. If you resonate with that sort of thing, that's really cool to hear. I'm going to take another sip of coffee. And, that's the thing though, y'all, is that the power is not easily gained when it comes to Scorpio energy. I really want to nail that point, hit that home run all the way home on that point, because Leo energy is just like, it just is. It just radiates. It just is. You know, it's like God, which is everything is God. You understand? We are spiritual Jedis. We know this. You know what I mean? And at the same time, Scorpio energy is the God that had to go through the falling process, or the process in which society or God, you know, it felt as though God did not give you grace at some point or another. You were without that at one point or another when you have Scorpio energy, you know what I mean, in your life story. And then it's through the process of going through those sorts of moments, operative word being through, right? Those forms of moments where you become the power in who you actually are as a Scorpio, meaning that you come through that to where you recognize again that that divinity exists, right? And that you are part of that, and that is part of you, and you were never forgotten, but that it felt like it, and that that was part of your process to become the butterfly that you are. Because if the butterfly don't go into that jelly apoptosis in their chrysalis, like literally they're just jelly in a freaking sack, if they don't become jelly in a sack, if that caterpillar doesn't become jelly in a sack, that caterpillar is going to get eaten by a bird and die. Or that caterpillar is just going to live their whole life earthbound and never really fly. You understand? So when you go through metamorphosis, or when you go through the apoptosis, the jelly in the sack that is metamorphosis, you know, when that butterfly liquefies, you know. P.S. Have you ever seen a chrysalis up close? A monarch chrysalis has these little gems. I swear to Goddess, it's like my little like Monroe. It's like that all over the chrysalis sack. It's divine. It's mind-boggling. You look at it, you're like, damn, you bedazzled your own chrysalis. How the hell did you do that? Like, they bedazzled it from inside the chrysalis. Like, it's amazing. I love it. And when you go through the chrysalis, you become powerful. You fly. When you transform what was a shitty experience, right? When you were earthbound and you transformed that through your apoptosis, through your metamorphosis, and you came out the butterfly, you become powerful. Now you fly away from the birds. The birds try to dive bomb you. Guess what? You dive bomb too. Whoop, no wings. And then you fly on your merry way. You know what I mean? Like, you just go down and you go. You ever see that? I've seen butterflies outdo birds before. Butterflies aren't birds' favorite food because they're hard to catch. Think about a butterfly versus a caterpillar. You understand? So when you metamorphosize, you level up. When you phoenix out, regardless of your ethnic heritage, right? But especially just in Black culture in general, or Black, if there's people watching this who are Black skinned and also Scorpios, and you felt like you wanted to share anything related to that experience, you know, you would be welcome to do so in relationship to this. And if you see parallels in what I'm explaining here, you know, but like, everybody, regardless, right, of your heritage and your, like, you know, lineage, you have that in your chart somewhere. So where is it in your life that you have the ability to metamorphosize out of what is otherwise hard circumstances and become the ultimate power through realizing, hey, I had to go through the pain, and pain is not necessarily going to change. Pain is not necessarily something I can avoid, but pain is something I can turn into fuel. Pain is something I can gain perspective on and apply constructively to get something that I otherwise wouldn't have had the fuel to get. I wouldn't have had the fuel to reach it, okay? I wouldn't have had the fuel to get it had I not been fueled in the first place. And so Scorpio energy is that power. It's that recognition. And that's, you know, that's, whew, I could get deep into that. I think that that's the difference. You know, I think there's a lot to be said about, yeah, there's a lot to be said about this, but what I do want to say is that the transformation is critical, and that if transformation doesn't happen, then stagnation is the only alternative. So there is a stagnation quality to low vibe Scorpio energy we can all sometimes encounter, whether that's through ourselves or it's through our engagement with other people who are Scorpio energy. But there is a potential where, like, they just get really, like, fixed in being a certain type of way, and they'll work their power really strong, but in, like, not the most constructive of circumstances. Their power almost becomes, like, distorted. It's almost like they get lost in the lack of spirit that victimizing moment of Scorpio, you know, power up process requires, that we talked about. And they just, like, really fluctuate at a really low vibe, right? That's another danger of, like, the scorpionic energy spectrum, is that is a potential. But in general, Like when you choose, again, you choose to sink or swim when you have Scorpio energy, just as many times is the case in melanated populations against what otherwise should be the case. I'm not saying that's fair. I'm not saying that's the right way. I'm not saying that's always the situation either, as I've said several times now, you know. But what I am saying is oftentimes there is a certain sense of you're either going to sink or you're going to swim. Which is it going to be? You know what I mean? So I just feel like what I'm getting across today, the main message is when you go through the Scorpio process, you go through that Scorpio process and you come out very strong and empowered for it, as this relates to your own DNA database of what has been systematic, imposed, whatever upon you that has been that process, right? Just as much as is the case in you yourself, regardless of your ethnic inheritance, in that one house of life ruled by Scorpio. Thank you so much, y'all, for joining me live. I want to open up one last question. I feel like that was really the message I was called to like deliver today. I feel pretty satisfied right now. I feel like I got my main points out there that I wanted to discuss. I feel like y'all have a really good comprehensive association of why I'm calling Black power very similar to Scorpio power, right? And the thing too about Scorpio, this is AKA the time also I'm trying to express, if you have questions, comments, anything you want to share in the chat, now's the time. You know what I mean? Put it in the chat now so we can get the conversation going. If you're trying to go in a conversation with me, let's go now because I'm about to bounce. But what I do want to say though, before I do bounce, is y'all are so powerful, and Scorpio energy is for real ancient wisdom as well. Water, y'all, fixed in modality. Element is water. Ancient ruler is Mars, the god of war, the god of strategy, the god of action and defense. And the modern ruler is Pluto, Hades, the underworld puppeteer, the mastermind behind the scenes who nobody sees until they do. That is Scorpio. So blackness, darkness, the stuff that nobody... Ooh! That is the second time today I dropped this rose quartz. Sorry, rose quartz. The blackness, the other, the shadow, the stuff that other people can't even relate to, the stuff that other people can't even relate to, or that they can relate to at such a deep level that they're scared of, that is the stuff that is associated so commonly, right, with not only Black culture, but Scorpio energy. And the thing about it is that that's more fuel to the fire that is the power within. And so I just really want to like get across that there's like this ancient sense of power within Scorpio dynamic, within Scorpio energy. It's this very tantric as well energy. And it is the energy that many people fear because it's too real to them. It's too real to them. And that's why people from other culture groups are afraid of Black people sometimes. That's why people of other culture groups, which is funny to me. I think that's so funny because to me, I feel more comfortable, generally speaking. It's really funny. Like I feel comfortable around cool people of all like ethnic things, right? Like all whatever boxes. Like if you're cool, you're just fucking cool. You don't need no validation based on nothing. You know what I mean? And with that said though, like as a whole, as cultural populations, I feel so much more comfortable around Black people than white people. A lot of times when I'm around a lot of white people, it's like, fuck, am I like, are they looking at me like this? Is my shirt buttoned right? Like I get all tense and I'm like, oh my God. Because it's just, I feel like there's a certain like pretentious or like judginess, or this need to hide, like this just hide thing. Shame, everything is shame on you. Somebody said shame on you to me the other day when I was being funny with them in the line, and I was like, oh, I forgot my bags. And they were like, oh, shame on you. Because I was like, oh, I forgot my bags. And I was like, oh, but you didn't forget your bags. Like I was trying to be funny. I was like, good job. And they're like, oh, did you not remember yours? It was a white guy. And I was like, no, I didn't. And he's just like, oh, shame on you. And I was like, shame? Not for this woman. There's way too much of that in the world. And I feel like I just like mind like blown on those people. Like they were like, what? You know? I'm like, why do you need to exist in shame? I'm not going to shame nobody. Like, if you're doing something wrong, you're doing something wrong. But that's not why. No, I digress. But you know what I'm saying? I think you know what I'm saying. So anyway, though, like, the process of power. I feel like I'm getting into all these other points as I'm trying to like get this big point, right? But the point is like the process of power is through a finding of genuinity. Scorpio power is from a very humble place. That's my point. That's the point. Remember, I told y'all that Scorpio power has to be. Thank you, Kima, for sharing your expression of parallels. But, you know, remember when I told you power has to be from a Scorpio lens? It's through the process of being either like some way, shape, or form like victimized or like somehow like against your will, something being imposed on you, which is again so not cool, you know. But everywhere in our life, we all have a house with this energy, and as a sign, if we have this as a strong thing in our chart, we understand what I'm saying. And it's through that process of that, right, that you get the opportunity to be as great as you are, as powerful as you are. You understand? So just understand that you have to go through a certain humility. You have to go through a certain humbleness within if you're going to access your Scorpio power. Scorpio power, it deals with the nitty gritty that other people can't deal with. It deals with the big scary monsters in the dark that you can't see. It deals with things that are in your own subconscious that you don't want to deal with. It deals with the scariest parts of whatever you actually feel is scary. That is Scorpio energy. And that's where power exists, because even if you fear something, it could be false evidence appearing real. You know what I mean? Fear. Even if you fear something, right, you are giving it power. It has power over you. That's what it's about. Remember I said Scorpio is all about value in the end. You understand? It's all about value. Everything with Scorpio is about value. So fear is a form of value. It's a form of stock. You have an energetic stock over something, you know, if they're afraid of you, or if you are allowing somebody, something to be fearful to you, you are giving them energetic stock. You are letting them play Scorpio to you and not you play Scorpio to them. And so, you know, the wind just came in real strong to kind of bless that message, I think. And you know, I don't know, that's my feeling on that whole situation, you know what I mean? So yeah. Okay, I'm reading this from Born Mr. Brown Pearson. She seems to be too comfortable with lower level blacks, which I warn her about. I've seen her be victimized by that type. Well, yeah, and that's, you know, this is an interesting point you bring up there, Mr. Brown, because this is in Scorpio energy, what is so deeply like dangerous about it, right? Even to like the most powerful beings. And Scorpio energy, just because you might be here now, don't mean you have to be there forever. Scorpio energy, you have the power. That is the point of this video. If you hear no other words, just hear that. Everybody, you have the power. You know what I mean? Everybody hear that. You have the power. But that is the danger of Scorpio energy, because it is so powerful. But again, this process of like needing to go through that like so-called like dark space, or that experience of like going through the pain and that victimhood for a moment, right? That experience, right? That woundedness that needs to be the catalyst to this power, right? That is Scorpio in its highest vibration. That can get addictive. That can get real addictive. Because the thing about Scorpio being like tantric and sexual and like primal sexual energy, and sexual energy don't have to be yoinking, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to be doing the dirty to be sexual energy. Sexual energy is creation. You know what I'm saying? Sexual energy is every time you produce something, you're using your sacred chi, your sacred kundalini. That's Scorpio energy all day, y'all. So it can get addictive though. It can get addictive to go to like what might be lower vibrations of that, because like the cycle of like drama or like trauma that, you know, a Scorpio might be familiar with based on their own like first standpoint in life. Like Scorpio energy people are often born into really like crazy situations, right? And they just have to learn like really crazy life lessons like from a young age, and that's part of this like process we've been talking so much about. But when you have that so much in your chart like your friend does, it can get addictive, because sometimes that's all they know, and they've never really seen or been around or witnessed what Scorpio energy does when it moves beyond that. You understand? And how Scorpio maybe still has those sorts of energetic cathartic moments, so to speak. That is that trauma cycle, but in a higher vibration where it's not so trauma and it's more just the transference of that, the transmutation of that, right? Of into something better, into something that is actually them being in their true power. So I feel called to share that in regard to your friend, Mr. Brown, in the chat, because I hope that maybe she could even get with some of the Scorpio content out there on the internet, you know, if not my videos, just people's in general on Scorpio, to better understand herself and how she can maybe level up. And the thing too that you should know, and everybody know, like watching this, who knows a Scorpio or is a Scorpio, the thing you should know, make sure you know that when you make up your mind, if you don't know this about yourself yet, you're going to find out at one point or another. When you make up your mind, like when you really make up your mind, it'll never be changed. If you know you are done with something with a capital D, you will be done. Done. You know what I mean? Same with someone. Y'all can cut people. Done. Bye. Bye. You know? That's the type of thing. Like, so if you choose to level up, so to speak, if you choose to cut the cords that no longer serve, and if you're choosing to level up as a Scorpio, you level up. That's what I'm getting at. And it's a choice though, because if she's not going to make the choice, you can't force her. Scorpio people in general, here's the thing. You can't move a Scorpio. You can't move them. All you can do is motivate them. And do you know how you motivate a Scorpio? I'm going to tell you. You motivate a Scorpio by telling them, helping them identify the power that they themselves could possess, but do not currently possess. That, my friend, is exactly how you mind Jedi hack a Scorpio. I just gave y'all such a good little nugget. That's exactly how you get to a Scorpio. You help them understand what they could have that they don't already. Because at the end of the day, Scorpio is about what, y'all? What is it about? Value. That's right. Value. So when you have the value of knowing what you don't yet have, right? AKA when you're that friend guiding that other friend or lover or whatever, mother, brother, whatever, right? When you're that lighthouse or that keeper who's giving them, as I see you in the chat say, you yourself are giving them motivation. And motivation is not like, you need to do this, you need to change. No, motivation is look at what you could be. Look at what you could do. Motivation is, but look at what you are able to do and haven't done yet. You see what I'm saying? Look at the greatness you haven't yet become. Do you not see your future self, Scorpio? That's how you tap into a Scorpio. That's what Scorpios need to hear from people in their lives. But you can't move them. You can't move them. You can't, they know what they want. They know what they stand for. They know who they are. They know what they're doing. And if you want to do what you're doing, that's fine. Do what you're doing. Do what you're doing. But you're not going to impose it on them. You're not going to move them at that level. You're not going to impose that on them. You say you represent the light for her. I think it bothers her sometimes. Why does it bother her? What, that her tendencies bother her? I don't know what that means. It bothers her that you're the light for her? I don't know what that means. But, you know, that's life, y'all. That's life. So you're welcome to subscribe if you vibe, because we are building tribe. I thank everybody who's new here, everybody who's been here. Thank you. Thank you. And I appreciate everybody who's been liking this video and continues to like this video if you're watching the replay in the future. Couple dope things coming up for y'all. Yes, he says. So yeah. You know what, man? Let her, you know what you need to do for that Scorpio friend? That's my whole point. I want you to take away from this. Help your Scorpio friend understand that she herself is the light. She herself has the light within. And that light is going to emerge when she lets it emerge through that trauma and through the pain and through the darkness within, when she lets it, when she allows it, when she feeds it, and when she allows it to birth through that chrysalis. She has to go through a chrysalis, Mr. Brown. If you don't understand that, you need to hear me when I say that. She has her own metamorphosis. She is a Scorpio. You can be her guide as she is in the cave of self-transformation and change. Yes, exactly. Right. But as she goes through that process, know it is deeply personal and internal, and your presence along the way is going to help her. But again, help her understand that she has the light all it is a metamorphosis away. And even help her understand where she is on that metamorphosis. Let her know, call out areas where she has already made the progress, because Scorpio needs to understand that there is a process to progress. It doesn't always happen night and day. And in the polarization tendencies of Scorpionic energy, you need to realize that faith is supreme, and so is diligent effort, and process is progress. Metamorphosis takes a process. So cool events coming up. There's live classes, y'all, master classes. If you've been missing them, I don't know what's up with you, but if you're into this, there's a speed read on Saturday. It's going to be live, and only 22 people are allowed in. If you vibe with my content and you're somebody on my channel, get in now. It's going to be free, and I'm only letting 22 people in. So if you're my people, I want you to know that it's happening. It's going to be so fun. So basically what's going to happen, I'm going to have 22 charts in front of me. Some of them I might have seen before. Most of them I won't have seen before, because all y'all are welcome to join, right? 3 minutes live. I don't know you. I don't know your story. And if I do know you, that's cool. Bring your chart too. Let's do it. But I'm reading 22 charts in 3 minutes each live over Zoom. And it's going to be a way for you to witness what astrology can do at just a 3-minute level. It's going to be a way for you, if you are an ongoing student of astrology, to see prioritization. I'm going to be sharing these charts live, right? And you're going to witness. This is a golden opportunity for students. If I was you 11 years ago when I started this journey, I'd be on this like this to witness, because it teaches you, or even just anywhere in the last 11 years, right? It teaches you how to prioritize reading the things in a chart. So it's going to be like rapid fire birth chart reading. I'm interpreting 3 minutes each, next, 3 minutes each, next. And in the in-between, I'm going to do like an in-between halfway check-in. Let those I've already read just go around 30 seconds, whatever, a minute each person, and express, holy cow, this was right, or this was not so right, or this really resonates, and oh my God, how'd you know? And I'm going to be like, it's in your birth chart. So register. The link is on all of my YouTubes, okay? There's different master classes we'll be doing. So when you click on that link, just look at the other options. There's also Passion Planets. If you missed that workshop, it's done. I'm sorry, I ran 2 of them. But there is another master class happening on seeing your body type in your birth chart. So it's free. And if you're a student of astrology and you're into my work, there's really nothing in your way from just coming and having a great time other than your own registration to the event, of course. So I invite you to see your birth chart in a new lens with me for free in these master classes. And again, that's all linked down below. Just go ahead and click on whichever master class you want to attend, or if you want to register for your speed read, right? I just am so looking forward to that on Saturday. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be such a blast. 22 strangers, or maybe like not strangers, maybe people I know. I don't know who's going to show up, but 22 people, mostly strangers, you know, and I'm reading your chart live in Zoom. It's going to be exhilarating. I think all the astrology students, I've been talking to some of my students about this, and they're just like so pumped, because they want to witness, like, they want to understand, how do I prioritize these crazy charts? If you're getting into astrology, you know, you look at charts. The first time you see a chart, you are like, what in the hell is this? You know, there's all these lines and colors and, you know, shapes and glyphs, and there's no words. There's not a word on the screen. Everything is a shape and a line, and there's no words. You don't know what you're looking at until you do. And so this is a fun thing, because it'll allow you as a budding astrologer to see how how we prioritize things, you know, and I'll explain as I go why I'm saying what I'm saying. It's going to be a ton of value. I can't believe how much value I'm giving. It's a lot of value, y'all, like true stuff. Like, I got to recognize it's some good value. So free event, really fun. I'm envisioning it like we're all in each other's living room, like just talking astrology and sharing life stories. So yeah, register if you vibe, y'all. And such gratitude for everybody who showed up live in the chat. Just thank you. Thank you, Kima. Thank you, James. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Thank you, Shelby, for showing up. Really good to just see some, you know, kindred spirits in here. Girl, you don't even know. You're so blessed to have me in this world, to see you in cyberspace. Yo, please, Kima. I got to get back to you, by the way. I'm sorry. You know me. I'm so blessed to have you. I'm so blessed to have you. You are, every time I tap into your energy, I like just witnessing you, you know, I'm just like, this woman, what a radiant, you're just so like, your heart is so beautiful, and everything, your energy just radiates, you know. So like, thank you. Yeah. You're gonna get me all sobbing again, all those teary eyes. But Kima, you rock. Thank you for that. I love you. Thank you for that good vibe. So, but yeah, y'all, let me know what you want to hear more videos on, and I'll hope to see y'all at the master classes. Thanks to everybody who likes this content, subscribe, shares. And you know, with that said, I'll see y'all there if you wanna have some fun, you know, in those free events. I hope to see y'all there just for fun, you know. So show up this Saturday. There's an live event. I almost forgot. This coming Thursday, Tailored to You coaching is this dope astrologer. I have to mention this to all of my people. If you're still watching, you know you're my people. Tailored to You coaching. This dude, Eric Taylor, is so groovy. He also just did this amazing live with his wife. I think her name is Alana Taylor. She is a goddess, very Piscean. And wow, you should really check out his channel. It was so funny how we initially met. We're doing a live this Thursday is the point for the Capricorn full moon, which is a crazy awesome full moon, and Cancer season. We're talking about that. It's going to be on his channel. So I'm telling all of my people about his channel too, because he's really cool. So it's Tailored to You Astrology, Tailored to You Coaching, right? And his little hashtag is T2UC. Yeah, I think. Anyway, he first commented on my channel. He was like, haha, you're like the female version of me. And I was like, oh, please, I don't even know who you are. What you talking about, female version of me? I'm like, you know, you don't know me. You know, who are you? And so, of course, I have to go creep on his channel because he's saying I'm like the female version of him. So I go and I creep on his channel and I'm like, wait a minute. I get like a video in and I'm like, oh, now I get what he meant. Like, we are kind of similar. So it's a great honor to be hosted on his channel this coming Thursday evening. That is going to be, stay tuned on my Instagram. I'm going to give you the details there again, the exact time and date. I think it's 7 p.m. Central Time, though, is why, you know me, I'm a Libra. We're all quirky with time. Give us a break, you know, but it's this Thursday evening. You got to stay tuned to my social media on Instagram, y'all, and check out his channel. Subscribe to Tailored to You Coaching. He's going to be posting the premiere and stuff, I'm sure. So it's going to be on his YouTube. Really dope astrologer. I honestly cannot wait to just share minds with him and with you all, the audience, right? Engaging. So Eric is such a funny, entertaining, and dope dude. And I've seen his chart, and he's just brains on brains and humor on humor. And, you know, his wife is amazing and has this like vegan, like skincare brand that I'm gonna all sorts be up in. She got this shea butter like scrub looking thing. I'm like, oh my god, what is this? And it's all vegan and like no poison and stuff. So she has this really amazing company they just talked about in the live they did. But yeah, be sure to check out him and the channel and see on his channel live this Thursday evening. Okay, I think it's 7 p.m. Central. I know I'm being so bad and not knowing the exact time. Again, subscribe to his YouTube channel, be on my Instagram, WizdomDropz, all Z's for dates and whatnot and times. And, you know, register for those master classes while they're here, because astrology school is starting July 11th. And those master classes are just to increase awareness to students like, you know, people like possibly you who are looking to really just commit themselves to learning astrology and want to get a little taste for what it's like to actually learn from me, in like a class setting, if you want to call it that, versus just these types of platforms where I'm kind of just talking and, you know, I'm engaging with you, what you give me in the chat, but like I don't get the opportunity to really engage with you, you know. So in class settings, it's like super interactive and very like applied. And, you know, I really love and appreciate the ability to nurture my students as they develop their understanding. And so these master classes are just a good free, like no commitment, easy, kind of like breezy space to just kind of see what that's like, you know what I mean? And so if you are into that, there's only 2 more left. And I want to make sure you know that. So you can register for that. You can register for the live event. I'm only doing one of those, 22 birth charts, rapid reading live. Girl, boy, please. I'm going to be well slept and caffeinated and something. I'll probably be caffeinated. I might not be well slept, but I'll be there that day. I'll be reading 22 charts live. So if you vibe with that, make sure you register now, tribe. I want to look out for my people first. This will fill. You understand? I'm reading people's charts for free and live. People are gonna register. So there's only a number. I'm capping it at 22. I'm not gonna do a 30, 40 live charts. I'm crazy, but not that crazy. So if you're my like community on the internet, please get in now, because there are other communities I'm going to be filling from, as quickly. So I'm trying to tell y'all the first round of people, get in, my people, get in now, while you can, because it'll be fun. It'll be cool for us to just be a part of this like community in that intimate Zoom space. So when you do register using the link at the bottom of this video or any of my other videos, and you select which of those class or speed read events you're going to attend, you got to tap on it, right, and then register. When you join the Zoom, the details for Zoom are different than your account that you deal with the registration for. So I'm going to actually start emailing people directly who register, just so you have the Zoom again in your email, and make it really clear and simple for you. So the day of the masterclass, the day of the speed read, you have those Zoom coordinates in your inbox. You just say click and you're in the room, and we chill, we have fun. So this has been a blast going live with y'all. I can't wait to see you Thursday on Tailored to You Coaching's channel. And again, this Saturday for the speed read. Who knows? I might do another live. It's been such a pleasure. You all literally rock. And I'm blessed for all of you. And especially, just people like Kima, shout out. People just, as I was saying in the earlier part of this video, I don't know if you were even here, Kima, but when I said that, Black women, y'all are just on some next level stuff. Thank you for incarnating, so when you are like, at your, you are this, this is you are this, so thank you for being you, it's just, wow, kudos, okay, I'm dropping all my crystals, I'm dropping my copper ball, I gotta go. If this video brought you any value, my floor is clearly uneven. And with that said, thank you so much for all the love. I really do love y'all, and I love everybody from all cultures. And I hope you heard that in today's message. I hope you heard your ability to claim your own power in your life. I hope you feel empowered to stand in your power. I hope that power for you is from within, and you understand it doesn't need to come through hurting or exploiting others, because that is the power that nobody can ultimately take away from you. And that is the Scorpio power, right? You've already gone through that. So y'all are dope. I just great gratitude for all the woke souls, all the loving souls, all the people committed to healing their DNA, all the people committed to healing their legacy, healing their Scorpio energy, healing their house of their chart that is Scorpio ruled. Like, you all are the change in the world. And the message for Scorpio people, the message for melanated people, you have the power. You are the power. So keep being the power, and you'll be amazed once society finally catches up to realizing you in your full glory. You are a living embodiment of that every day. And to you, I give you great respect. So yeah, Scorpio people in the house. All right, y'all. Take care. Peace. With that said, through next time, until next time, may the stars be with you.